And we are live. Hello. Woo woo. Thank you everyone for joining our corporate masterclass. Today we'll be talking about boundaries and finding our voice in the workplace, and talking nicely to ourselves, not letting like negative self talk like cloud our minds in the workplace. So I'll kick it over to you, and we can kick it off and get started.
Yes, welcome everyone. I love that talking nicely to each other because that's what it's all about. This is a positive space, so I'm very excited. This is also my first LinkedIn Live, y'all,
Woo
so
woo.
nice. But yes, let me just kick this off with a quick introduction. My name is Sevval, originally from Germany, right now in the United States. Right now, I'm a MBA student. I do my MBA in organizational psychology and new work, but I'm also the founder of Ascent and the Both Path. If you haven't heard of it, I'll mention it again in the end, but it's basically a Gen Z network that is all about empowerment, positivity, and really utilizing all the skills we have to become the best versions of ourselves and to truly be our own creators of our own bold path. So my motto, I saw Deja for one in, so I did as well, is to really ditch your comfort zone and embrace the uncertain. This is, yeah, what I like to be all about. Be yourself, walk your own path, and I'm gonna hand it over to you, Deja.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so this is me. I'm Deja White, founder of Breakroom Buddha and career co-pilot, and we are on the same wavelength. I'm all about skill development, making sure that people reach their full potential, because we all have so much to give, and we don't have to try to be anything that we're not. I'm all about helping people find careers that match their desired lifestyle instead of the other way around. We don't live to work, we work to live. And then my motto is like, if it's not fun, we don't do it. Like throughout my career, when I was not having fun anymore, I'm like, all right, it's time to go. So I wish that for everybody. All right, we can kick it over to the next slide.
Oh, there we go.
Perfect. So I want to make sure everybody is in the right room. This is boundaries, confidence, and leveraging AI. So, of course, I'll throw some little AI tidbits in there. We have three promises for you. Number one, you will learn how to define your value, and stop trying to prove yourself in the workplace. Number two, you will learn how to set boundaries like a leader. And number three, by the end of this, you will rewrite your inner dialogue and not be guilty about showing off your wins in the workplace. And we're going to start with your voice, because if you don't know your voice, you don't know your values, you don't know what you stand for, you don't know anything about yourself, then it's hard for you to set boundaries and hard for you to start showing up for yourself, and celebrating your wins. So, this is why finding your voice matters. It's how you show up, it's what you stand for, and it's the impact that you want to create when you are in the workplace. All right, next slide. So get your pens and paper ready. I'm not one to do long introductions. I like to get to work immediately. So when we are defining our voice, we want to make sure that our voices are loud. In order to be loud, we need to know what our core values are. So that's who we are, why we make the decisions that we make, what kind of presence we bring to the workplace. All of these fall under that core value umbrella. And the more sure you become in your core values in yourself, you start to obviously show up with more confidence, and your voice gets a little bit louder every time you make the commitment to your values in the workplace. Next slide. So, people often ask me, like, how do I find my core values? How do I know what I believe in? Well, first, I am not your inner voice, so I can't necessarily tell you. But these are a couple of questions that I like to ask. So what principles guide you when you are taking action? And if you are following along, feel free to type some notes or jot down notes with a pencil and paper. And you can answer these questions live. Another question I like to ask are like, what are your non-negotiables inside of the workplace? So like for me, I never want to touch foot in another office. That's just like a non-negotiable for me. But like I've been in my career for a while, so I know what kind of environments I thrive in and things like that. Do you like offices? Do you like your time freedom? Do you like meetings? Like just know what your non-negotiables are. Another question that I like to ask that goes back to work environments is what type of environments you thrive in. I've been in the little cubicles, I've been in hybrid, I've been fully remote. Like at this point, I know what type of environments I thrive in. So you should also know what type you thrive in. And then last but not least, you can answer the question, what type of people do you enjoy working with? So if you have support in the workplace, then your voice obviously gets louder because you're validated by your ideas, your core values are popping off, so you get to thrive in your space. So this is how to make your voice loud. Consider some of those questions, and we'll move on to the next section. So after you make your voice loud, we need to make our voice clear. So how are we communicating our values clearly and confidently? Your voice represents you to the world. So like if I've never met you, I don't know anything about you. All I know is what you tell me. So you have to become clear on how you communicate your expertise, those core values that we just talked about, and your personality. So like if I've never met you, how will I know who you are, how you move through this world, unless you tell me and you show me? All right. So I say all of that to say that when you have a clear voice and a clear stance, it's better to understand who you are, whether you're in the workplace or out of the workplace. So get your pens and paper ready again. We have more questions. So if you don't know how to make your voice clear, I have a 3-step formula that I love to use and I love to share. So step number 1 is to define your expertise. What do you want to be known for? What do people come to you for? For me, that is career advice. Everyone's always like, how do I update my resume? Can you help me do this? And I'm like, maybe, let's talk about it. So career advice, my expertise in my domain. And the next thing that I like to focus on is my medium. So I've learned that I like to write and I sometimes like to speak depending on the circumstances. But for you, you have to figure it out. Once you know your expertise, then you move on to your medium. Do you like to write? Do you like to speak? Do you like videos? What energizes you, especially when you're in the workplace? And then last but not least, I call this third piece razzle dazzle. Like find your unique selling point or your unique personality that pushes you over that edge a little bit. So clearly that question is, what's your unique trait that makes people listen to you? So for me, I spent most of my career in marketing, so I treat all career advice, even my own career, like a marketing campaign. In case no one ever realized that, like every single hack, every single thing that I talk about, you can copy and paste it directly from the things that I've learned as a marketer. So that is my razzle dazzle. That's my secret sauce. And that is how I make my voice clear. All right, we'll keep it pushing. All right, and this is the third and final piece to the puzzle. How can we make our voices stick when we're in the workplace? So I'm all about leaving impact. Every single workplace you go to, you will leave some kind of impact. So you might as well take control of the impact that you're leaving. And simply put, impact is just the effect that your work and your presence has on the environment that you're in. And when you're speaking, does it stick or does it fade away? So we're gonna work through how to get your voice to stick a little bit if you feel like it's been fading away into the background. All right, here's some clarifying questions to help you figure out what kind of impact you've been leaving in your workplaces. So number 1, how have you been helping or serving others? And if you don't know, you can sit with your thoughts and think through how you would like to start helping and serving others when you are in a workplace. The second thing to think about is to focus on how you want to be remembered in a work environment. So do you want to be remembered as a person who shows up late? Do you want to be remembered as a person who doesn't follow through? So just start to think about some of the things that you want to be remembered for. And if you've left certain work environments, think about some things that people have told you that they remember you for. I'll give you an example. For me, I left someone with like I know how to code, like HTML code. I came back recently and they said, when you were here, you had some intense code, and I copied it and pasted it and have been using it. And that was like 2 years ago that I left them with a piece of code. It's something so simple, but I'm like, I left my imprint. I left them things that they could use to make their jobs easier, and it reminded them of me. Another question that you can ask is, how does your work make a difference? So if you're not there, if you go on a long vacation, will you be missed? Will the people in your work environment know that you're not there to help solve that problem or make that impact? And then we have one more question. And this is like, what legacy do you want to leave? I know when you're like mopping floors, you're not thinking about leaving a legacy, but just remember everything that you do in your career, it contributes to your legacy belt. Like, I just totally made that up right now, but your legacy belt is essentially like the armor that you wear. Like, every single thing that you do will contribute overall to a legacy that you leave when you reach the end of your career. So just think about what legacy you want to be leaving, and how each career stop or job can help you like leave that legacy. So we're gonna have a little bit of fun. I hope you've been taking some notes. I don't know if you know what Mad Libs is, but Mad Libs is like old style fill in the blank. So now we're gonna do like an action step. We don't want to slow down because we got a lot to tell you. So take a screenshot of this. And I want you to fill in the blank after this conversation, because this will be your homework. It'll help you figure out what your voice is, what your core values are, what impact you want to leave. It's just a really succinct statement to make sure that you are leaving the impact and you know your value and all the things that we just ran through. So the first sentence, and there are only 3 sentences, so you got this. The first sentence is, I am passionate about blank. So your topic or your skill that we drummed up earlier in the conversation. And people come to me for blank. So for me, it was the career development, the topic and skill that I talk about, career development, my specific strength, blending that marketing with career advice. The next sentence is, I believe blank, which is your core value, and I refuse to blank. So that's your boundary or limitation. So that goes back to what you will and won't accept in a workplace. What are those non-negotiables? And then the last sentence to think through is that impact piece. So I create impact by blank. So how you help people or how you serve people goes into that blank. And then I want to be remembered for blank. That's your legacy piece and that lasting impression that you want to leave. So I'm going to show you a quick example of what it could look like when it's all filled in. And don't be nervous. It's blown up really, really big so that you can read it. And we'll go to the next slide. Yeah. So here's a little snippet of mine. I said, I am passionate about helping people clarify and communicate their unique value, and people come to me for guidance in defining their voice and impact. I believe in autonomy and purpose-driven work, and I refuse to be confined by rigid structures, visionless environments, and unnecessary limitations. You see how, like, I know my non-negotiables. Do you know your non-negotiables that well? And then my impact statement. I create impact by helping others articulate their purpose with confidence and clarity, and I want to be remembered for giving people the tools to own their voice and leave a lasting impact. So that is very clean and clear and succinct. And this could also serve as like an elevator pitch. Maybe not all of the sentences, but maybe one sentence could be your elevator pitch if you need help practicing that, or if you're meeting people in the office. So we'll kick it over to the next slide. And this is some extra credit. So after I've answered all my questions that I gave you all at the beginning to think through, I used one of my favorite tools, ChatGPT, but you can use whatever AI tool you like. And I put together a workplace manual. So like when I'm new to an environment or I have a new coworker, I'm going to start sending them workplace manuals so that they know how to work with me, what I do and don't like in the workplace, and how to best communicate with me when we're working together. If you're on our email list, like if you signed up to attend this via email, I will send that prompt to everyone who registered before the event. But if you didn't pre-register, just connect with me. And I'll send you that AI prompt as well so that you have a little workplace manual that you can send to people. And that's another way to get people to learn how to approach you, and another way to reclaim your voice in the workplace. So I hope this helped you with at least starting to clarify your voice in the workplace. Keep practicing. It takes a little bit of practice, but you got this. And I'm going to kick it over to you now.
This is definitely going to be my first homework for tomorrow.
Yes.
It's every time when I'm in a session with you, I get new AI and ChatGPT homework, and I love it.
Yes.
So I'm excited, and I think it's super fun to really send your coworkers this information so they know where you're at, where they're at, because this is also an excellent, an excellent connection to our next topic, which is boundaries. Before I dive in, I want you to know boundaries are not selfish. Please never ever think that saying no to things is you being selfish. It's you being protecting yourself. So what exactly are boundaries and why should we have boundaries? So first of all, it's not that you say no to everything, that you're overly protective of everything, that you're like, nah, no, I'm not doing this. That's not the right attitude. It's really about being aware of the things and being intentional about saying yes to the right things. And this starts truly with yourself, right? Because otherwise, without boundaries, what happens? We burn out, we're exhausted, our work-life balance crashes because of it. And we don't want that, especially in our world today where everything's so dynamic and fast and everybody has 10 ideas a day. It's truly important that you know yourself really well so that you can protect yourself. So why do boundaries matter? I already touched a little bit about on this earlier, but it's really to have a healthier and more productive work environment. It's important to say boundaries also apply to your personal life, let's say in your relationships, for instance. Boundaries are not only a work thing, but is especially important in the workplace because we do want to prevent burnout. We do want to increase our productivity, of course. We want to have a healthy and enriching work environment and really promote professionalism. Because let's take it to the extreme. If my boundaries, or if I'm overworked and my boundaries are not being respected, I'm probably not going to show up as the most kindest person. I'm probably going to be a little bit more on the tense side, and we want to keep the professionalism high but also encourage that work-life balance. And as a consequence, we're going to really strengthen team collaboration, because if others know where my boundaries are and vice versa, we can work around that and really create impacts and also solutions that work for everybody. And that ideally is, of course, the end goal of a thriving team. Now, how do we even start with setting boundaries? I'm a huge advocate for saying that it always starts with you. Whatever it is, it starts with you. If you are self-aware, if you truly know yourself, you can take care of yourself, and then you can take care of others. You can take better care of your work, of your hobbies, of whatever it is, but it's always going to start with you. So that's why I'm so huge on all that mental health and self-care things, because it's really true. I want you to be comfortable in your own skin so that you can perform the best in every aspect for your life. I'm a huge fan of journaling. It's a great tool to really discover yourself a bit more and dive deep. So I brought some prompts for you. So to really dig deep, whether you like to write it out with your hands or just type it down on your computer, but it truly helps to take things out of your mind and into perspective. So the first prompt I brought is, what situations at work make me feel uncomfortable or drained? Again, you can apply this to your personal life as well to create those personal values. Today, your focus is more on career. So really think about it. Was there a situation in my corporate life or my work life where I felt super uncomfortable and drained? And why was that? What led to me feeling that way? Another thing is, how do I feel about work-related messages outside of work hours? Do I like it because it gives me a feeling of being ahead and always knowing what's going on? Or does it really drain me and it really, I can never fully log off of work because of it, for instance? How much extra work am I realistically comfortable taking on? Am I saying yes to too many things that maybe don't even really align with my goals? And what type of interactions or colleagues with colleagues feel too personal for me? Like, this is also a boundary. Just because somebody else is sharing their whole family history, it doesn't mean that I have to, just to keep the report going. It's really of, when I'm comfortable and you are comfortable with sharing whatever you'd like, then we can both have this nourishing relationship at the end. And lastly, how do I handle conflict in a way that respects my limits? For instance, are you a person who needs a minute when things get too heated? And then you can communicate it to your colleagues and be like, hey, I really do need my 30 minutes right now, but I will come back to you. This is a boundary. Your boundary could also be, hey, I need a day or I need a week, and then I will come back to you. But in order to know that and to communicate that, you really got to know these things about yourself. So these are only 5 prompts. Again, there's ChatGPT, there's Pinterest, there's Google. It's going to give you hundreds of different prompts for you to really dig in deep. This is just the beginning, but I hope this helps you out. So definitely take notes on that. Take a screenshot and set this as a little to-do for yourself. This week, maybe answer 2 of these prompts and really go in deeper. Now we have figured out what our boundaries are, how do we establish them, how do we establish healthy boundaries. And this is also something you can start immediately, because small steps go a long way, especially in the long haul. And the most important thing is that you keep it simple, impactful, and sustainable. You cannot cross Mount Everest with 0 training. It will take little steps. So this is also something, when you're not used to it, it's gonna take repetition, small little steps. So make sure it is sustainable for you, for your lifestyle, but that it also has an impact. So start with communicating it. Once you're aware of your boundaries, just how Deja showed you the workplace manual, communicating to your coworkers what to expect from you. Boundaries work in a similar way. You really have to communicate it to others and be like, hey, these are my boundaries. Let's say in the morning, I need 1 hour to myself to defrost. Is that okay with you? How can we make it work? This is the first step. Respect work hours, especially if you struggle more with your work-life balance, and really set limits for yourself. Even though you would potentially be able to complete the work that day, if it's not urgent and if you're not a doctor, then most likely you'll be able to do it tomorrow. Also, this goes along with setting digital limits. This could be just social media or work-related as well. And also saying no when necessary. Again, if you're truly self-aware and you know, like, this yes could potentially hurt me and also in return hurt others, I should probably say no. And really being aware of, how am I feeling today? Am I capable of doing this? Is this even inside of my expertise? And really answering that question from there. And most importantly, practice what you preach. I'm a huge advocate for that. Really lead by example. It's like when you see your boss at work and they come to you and be like, hey, don't work too much. Make sure you look out for your work-life balance. but then you see them always being there super early and leaving as the last person, things don't really add up that much. So truly lead by example and create that nourishing and flourishing environment for yourself and for others. And in return, others will follow you. And trust me, it's going to be a much, much nicer place to work at if everybody takes care of themselves and respects their boundaries. Now, I do have a little action step for you. Super small exercise. This is just to show you that boundaries can be as simple as that, as simple as setting an email-free hour each day and or turning off your notifications after work. I lived by this rule religiously in my calendar every week. It was every Monday from like 8 to lunchtime. My calendar was blocked. No meetings allowed. This is my me time. And during the week, usually in the mornings when I started work, I also had an hour blocked off just so that I could start my day before all that email hustle and all those meetings. And it worked, especially if your work allows it and your workload, then go for it. Whatever it is that will make your life easier, go for it. I brought an example by Bill Gates. He takes think weeks, which I thought was pretty interesting. So twice a year for an entire week or so, he entirely disconnects from meetings and emails to focus on deep work. Obviously, we're not all Bill Gates. Not everybody can do this, but I just wanted to show you that even a small email-free hour a day, or if you want to start super small, like twice a week, is gonna do you justice. It's gonna be a huge step towards really respecting your boundaries and doing things that work for you. Now, this is touching on what Deja already mentioned. I want you to really go in even deeper than we already did and focus on the power of your inner dialogue. I'm sure you heard of the phrase, you are what you eat. I live by the statement, you are who you think you are. So that means your inner dialogue entirely shapes your reality and truly determines your environment, your confidence, your resilience, and then also your successes in life. Let's see. If you truly believe that you're not capable, that you're not, let's say, you're not strong enough to do X, Y, Z, and you keep feeding that into yourself, then you know what is the outcome? You won't be able to complete it because you do believe those lies and you do believe those limiting beliefs that you feed into yourself. And we can even extend it. If I believe I'm not capable of something, then the person next to me is going to perceive me as that as well, because I will automatically show up as somebody who doesn't believe in themselves. So then if I don't believe in myself, how can I expect somebody else to do that? And I really want to challenge your thinking in that, because again, here also, it starts with you first. You have to be your first and othermost biggest supporter for others to see that and support you as well. Obviously, we're always going to have people who unconditionally support ourselves, but especially in the work environment, or if you enter a room with strangers who have never met you and you show up as somebody who doesn't believe in themselves, you're not going to be credible for them. They don't want to do business with you because they're going to be able to feel that. And once you have mastered it, you're going to be unstoppable. So I really want you to focus on that. So how do we transform this? How do we transform our self-talk for growth? Again, you are who you think you are. So step one, again, it starts with being aware. So identify your negative thoughts and then move on to the next step, which is to challenge them. I want you to rewire your brain sort of, where you don't immediately believe every single thought that happens, but to start challenging them. So you either let them pass, or once you have caught something, a really strong belief, challenge it. Where does it come from? Is this a lie? Do I have to dig deep? What is the root of this thought really? And then move on to the next step, which is to replace it with empowering statements. And ideally, I would want you to do this daily and truly practice self-compassion. This is a whole journey. It's not going to be perfect all the time. It's going to take you repetition, but then you will always feel better. You're going to feel the change. And as with every journey, there's going to be ups and downs. Like when you try this exercise or incorporating these tactics into your day-to-day life, keep going and truly be present in the moment and see, how does it make me feel? How do I feel right now? Really stand straight up, strengthen your shoulders, and really become aware of your body. How do I feel right now after challenging this thought and rewriting the narrative? And a great way to do this is an affirmations framework that I brought to you, is to do the opposite of your limiting belief and turn it into an action point. So the framework goes in, I bring X value to Y. And how this could look like is you're going to write down a self-doubt you've had. For instance, I'm not really qualified for this role. And then you reframe it into a powerful statement saying, I bring unique strengths to this role and I'm always growing. And here's your action point, which is you bring those strengths, but at the same time, you're always growing. And you take something that was limiting and turn it into something that allows for growth, because this is life. Everybody's doing it for the first and last time. So we got to give ourselves grace and start small. And I have to say this to myself as well, to really start small, because those small things are going to have the biggest impact in the long run. Now, I'm also a huge fan of affirmations, so take a screenshot of this as well, or Google affirmations, type it into ChatGPT, and pick your favorites, and then write it onto a little post-it, and then stick it onto your refrigerator, stick it into your mirror in your bathroom, places you see a lot throughout the day, and repeat. Be in the moment and repeat these affirmations and really change and challenge that inner narrative. What I brought to you today is, my potential is limitless and I embrace every opportunity to grow, or I'm capable of achieving anything I set my mind to. I'm bold, fearless, and unstoppable in pursuing my dreams. Repeat them, and I'm going to tell you, you're going to start believing them and you're going to start to feel different. Of course, this is something, if this is something out of your comfort zone, it may take some while to get used to it. And you may be questioning, like, okay, I'm saying this, but yeah, I just said it. What is this going to do to me? But the magic really lies in being present and allowing yourself to think positively. Because at the end of the day, your happiness can and is a choice. You do have the control over what you do believe and what you don't believe about yourself. And these affirmations are a great way to shift your focus from the negative and the limiting to a more positive mindset that allows for failure, but that is really wired for you to focus on growth and keep to learn and keep to try. And this is what I want you to do. Just really change the perspective a little bit. It's not that you failed, it's that you tried and that you keep growing and learning and growing. And this is all that's really about. Now, the last thing I brought to you today is I want you to focus on your value. Deja touched on this as well, but I want you to really own your achievements like a pro. And this is a huge career advantage. I wish I had started sooner, which is to keep track of your wins. I want you to create a win bank. Every week, have a list of 3 wins per week. You can do this entirely just based on your career, like what you did at work, or you could even expand it to relationships, personal life, friendship, family, or even for if you have any athletic goals or nutrition health goals, you can even expand it to that. But truly have a win bank. This is not only going to boost your confidence when you review it before meetings or any negotiations, but it's also going to keep you on track of always seeing the positive in things and really shifting your focus towards the positive. And another advantage is, in a work environment, let's say you have your yearly feedback meetings where your salary is going to be brought up. You already have your points A to Z written down, and you're already aware and have a solid facts that you can use to negotiate and really contribute to the feedback. And this is a critical skill because It's also going to help you, let's say, when you want to rewrite and review your CV, your resume, you're already going to have all these points. I made this mistake so many times where when it came to the point where I had to write a new resume, I was stuck and I was thinking like, okay, but what did I do? Like, we do a lot of great things, and even the greatest things I have done, I totally forget about those because I was just so overwhelmed of trying to cramp up things to put on my resume, even though I have a bunch of stuff I've done. And having this Wim bank and starting early with this is going to give you a lot of fuel, a lot of facts, and it's incredibly like boosting for your confidence as well. So, with that being said, I wanted to wrap up this little session with saying that empowerment truly begins when you recognize your worth, set your boundaries, and really own your achievements. I think we all have a huge potential within us. We have an incredible, we're all ambitious people, right? We all want to do incredible things. And I want you to always remember it starts with you. Because oftentimes we are our own biggest critics. Usually we reject ourselves more often before somebody else even has a chance to do so. So really believe in yourself and really stand up straight and know your worth, truly recognize it. And sometimes we struggle, we're all human. So if you have anybody in your circle, and I'm sure you do, go to them and be like, hey, could you just tell me one thing you like about me, just as a little reminder, and then you can tell them one thing you like and really appreciate about them, just to keep the positive vibes up and really have the focus on being positive. And honestly, if you need a day where you just want to be grumpy and sad, take that day, and the next day we get back up because we have big achievements to go after, and I know you've got this in yourself. And yes, with that being said, I want you to remember also, if there's anything in this session where you have a question mark, or you would like to dive more into detail, or you want to have a little bit more information about us, feel free to reach out. We're both on LinkedIn and everywhere. We're, as Deja likes to say, we're chronically online. So make sure you check out our different platforms, and if there's anything we can help you with, we're gonna be there for you.
Yeah, so these are my links. Career Copilot is a AI career coach that I've developed. So if you are ever stuck, it's 24/7. If you can't reach me, scan that QR code, take a screenshot, go to Career Copilot. Also, connect with me on LinkedIn. I treat it like one big group chat. I am always in someone's comments. I'm always sharing. I'm always giving information. So come join me on LinkedIn in my public group chat. And then Breakroom Buddha is my website. It's where it all started. That is where a lot of my OG career advice and my career journey lives, and it will always be there. I won't take it down. So go and check it out. And then during the conversation, I was dropping some resources in the chat too. So make sure if you are hating on yourself with that negative self-talk, put some of that negativity in that hater translator link that I dropped in the chat. And it'll help you turn your life around a little bit and help you start to walk a little bit differently out here. So I'm excited for y'all. We dropped some really good gems today. And feel free to reach out to us and let us know what you learned. And also, if you want that AI prompt, let me know.
Awesome. Thank you, Deja. And I also brought a few links. Ooh, these should all have backgrounds. There we go. So yes, make sure you connect with me on LinkedIn as well. This is currently my main platform where you could reach me as quick as possible. Again, I'm there 24/7. But I would also love for you to join our movement Ascend, which is basically everything about what we just talked about. It's about empowerment. It's about gaining those skills early in our careers to really step into bold steps, bold leadership, everything that comes with it. So make sure you check out Ascend. And if you want to be part of the community, this QR code will lead you to my link tree. It has different forms of ways for you to participate, for you to put in your input. If you have any questions, reach out to me. And something new that's in the making is actually called the Both Path. This is my career and lifestyle advice blog slash journals. So if you're interested, definitely make sure to check that out as well. And yeah, we moved very quickly to today's session. I hope everybody could pick and choose something that they needed to hear today and a little bit of homework that you can do this week as well. I want to highlight that next week we're going to have our second session actually, and I'm very excited about that. It's going to be same day, more or less. It's going to be Wednesday, same time, same place. And I do have a little sneak peek. We're going to hear more about AIs, but we're also going to talk a lot about communication and how you can really effectively communicate and use it for your advantage, especially at work. So definitely make sure you are on the lookout for that. Again, it's going to be on LinkedIn. We're going to announce it very, very soon. And we would love to see you here again. Bring a friend. I think it's going to help them too.
Yeah, friends are often accountability
Yeah.
buddies too.
Ooh,
So I love
absolutely.
that. Awesome. Well, look, we will hang around in the comments if anyone has any questions, or you can DM us on LinkedIn and let us know your thoughts. But we will see you next week and come with questions. And I know these are tough topics, so not everyone wants to ask questions out in the open. So please feel free to DM us. But yeah, see y'all next week. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.